Greetings, I'm the Bulgarian Troglodyte. Today I will talk about films that could get boutique Blu-ray or 4K releases, or even just regular Blu-rays would be nice for these films, or even if they just went straight into streaming in great quality, that would be great as well. Many of these films have never been restored to 1080p or 4K, which is really sad because I consider all of these films here to be really great films. And there's a chance that maybe a couple of these are available on Blu-ray, maybe in like Japan or Korea or some countries, but to my knowledge, none of these are available on great releases with English subtitles. So yeah. But anyway, let's go through with these films, and you can let me know films that you would want to get new Blu-ray or 4K releases. Yeah. So we have Three Iron by Kim Ki-duk. This is available on DVD, but not on Blu-ray or 4K, which is really weird to me because this is a very well-liked movie, fairly popular movie. Tens of thousands of people have rated it on Letterboxd. Korean movies are pretty popular in the West these days, so I think if somebody released this would probably sell quite well, and it probably would be a fairly popular title. So maybe there is some like licensing issues or something, because I think probably labels would release this if there weren't any licensing issues. And Kim Ki-duk films, for some reason, aren't usually available on Blu-ray or 4K in the West, even though, again, in general, he's a fairly acclaimed and popular director, and I think people would buy his films if they were available. I don't know what is going on there, but I think historically, many even very popular Korean movies haven't been released on Blu-ray, so there must be some issues there often that prevents labels from releasing them. But then we have Abraham's Valley, which is another masterpiece, slow cinema, very long film. This was restored fairly recently. I think last year I mentioned in a video that the new restoration was shown in, I think, New York Film Festival or something. So there's a chance that somebody might release this now that it has been restored to great quality. But we'll see if it will be released. It probably would be a title that it wouldn't sell that well because it's not that well known, but I would love to see it, and I would love to own it, and I think it would look great on Blu-ray or 4K. Then we have a Theo Angelopoulos film, Alexander the Great, but this is kind of symbolizing here Angelopoulos' whole filmography, because he's one of my favorite directors. He's a very acclaimed director, but his films aren't available on Blu-ray or 4K. Artificial Eye released them on DVD quite a long time ago, but I think those sets have been out of print for a long time, and now they are only available online, which is such a tragedy considering how great his films are. I mean, they should bare minimum be available at least in like official streaming, like Mubi or Criterion Channel or something, but it's just so sad that you have to kind of find the films on through like unofficial means or buy like very expensive out of print DVDs and stuff. Yeah, it's just so sad when you have some of these like greatest directors of all time, and then nobody like reserves their films and stuff and releases them and makes them accessible. It's just so sad. I think we should appreciate film as an art form more and put more efforts and funds into preservation and stuff, even if it doesn't make money. Yeah, it's, I think, important for our cultural heritage and stuff. But yeah, that's the world we live in. Art isn't valued that much. There are only some of us weirdos who care about art, so what can you do? Then possibly my favorite first time watch of the year, which is Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Charisma. This you can find online on 1080p, again through unofficial means, but I don't think it's available on Blu-ray anywhere. It probably has to be released on DVD in the West. And you can find this on YouTube even, but on really bad quality. And I think this probably has been released on Blu-ray in Japan, as Kiyoshi Kurosawa is a very acclaimed and popular director, but I don't think there is a Blu-ray with English subtitles. But quite a lot of Kiyoshi Kurosawa's films have been released on like Third Window, Eureka, Masters of Cinema, even Criterion. So I think there is a chance that a label will put this out. I think this is probably one of the likeliest films on the list to get a release at some point, maybe even soon. So I really hope that, because this is a utter masterpiece to me, Kurosawa's best film, starring the great Koji Yakusho. Yeah, yeah, I would buy this ASAP if it got a release. Then we have Obayashi's Chitsuko's younger sister, and there are many Obayashi films that need a release. Although very recently Third Window put out lots of Obayashi's films, but he has a really big filmography, so there are many films of his that haven't been released, like this one. But this might actually be my number one favorite, so it's often the case that like my favorites haven't been released, but then some other films have been, so that's too bad. And yeah, I think Obayashi, he has his niche following, but I think his films, the Blu-rays probably don't sell that well. So from the profit perspective, it's understandable why his films haven't been released. But yeah, I hope that Third Window continues to release his films. Then we have Raul Ruiz, City of Pirates, one of my absolute favorite films of all time, top 50 level for me. But Radiant said last year that they tried to license this, but they couldn't. So it probably won't get a release anytime soon, but hopefully someday it will be released or even just restored and put on like movie or something. That would be great as well. Then we have one of the better Finnish films, but this isn't that famous. Like even in Finland, I think so. It probably will never get released because Finnish cinema very rarely gets released outside of Finland anyway. And this isn't even on physical media here in Finland. So but this is a really great psychological thriller that I absolutely love. Would love to see this get released. Then we have a Yoshida film, Confessions Among Addresses, and there have been some Yoshida releases. Arrow released a box set of his films that has 3 films, and then Radiance fairly recently released a story written with water. And I was actually very surprised when I saw that release. I kind of thought that instead of the Arrow release, probably nobody would release any of Yoshida's other films. But now that Radiance released that one, and they are releasing lots of Japanese cinema, lots of Japanese new wave, so I think they might release this one sometime in the future, and really hope so, because I think this is a masterpiece, one of Yoshida's best films. And this A Woman of the Lake, if those two could be released, I would be just so happy. Then we have Jean-Claude Visseur's Celine, one of the best French films of the last few decades, I think. Fairly similar to Portrait of a Lady on Fire, but I like this one way more than that one. And I think maybe this is out on Blu-ray in France, but I'm not sure. And yeah, this usually isn't available in kind of official streaming sites or anything like that. So yeah, but if you can track it down, definitely watch it. I think it's such a great film, and I think fairly accessible film that many people would love. And it would look absolutely stunning on a great release. Then we have Shinji Aoyama's Eureka. I think this would be a title that would sell quite well, as it is like a very highly acclaimed Japanese film that pretty much anybody who watches it loves it. But I guess there probably is some licensing issues with this one. I think somebody would have released it if there wasn't any issues, as it is a very highly rated, acclaimed film. But hopefully someday we will get this one. Yeah, it's such a great movie. And I think online you can usually the best copies of this are like 720p. Yeah, I think I have never seen a 1080p copy of it, but there might be one. Then this is symbolizing here all of Tsuji Terayama's films. So this is Farewell to the Ark. And he's one of the best Japanese directors of all time, and especially of the new wave period. His films are very challenging, very weird, very taboo, and they have great aesthetics. And I know Franz Simeone of Radiance is a fan of Terayama, but he probably, I think Radiance will probably release Terayama's films if they can get hold of them, but we'll see. Hopefully, they can release them. Then another Japanese new wave film, Go Go Second Time Virgin by Koji Wakamatsu, one of the most important filmmakers of the Japanese new wave, a very political filmmaker. And I would love to see any of his films, but this is one. This one is my favorite, but I've only seen a couple. But again, these films are very political, weird, and very transgressive. So I think these probably wouldn't sell that well if they came out. And yeah, so I'm not sure whether these would ever come out. Wakamatsu's films, maybe on Radiance. Yeah, hopefully. Then we have the original Hachiko. Maybe this will get released. I think this would probably sell decently well as the remake is quite well known. So maybe people would want to see the original as well. So I think this we could definitely get a release, but we'll see. I would love to see it. Then we have Sunshi Iwai's Hannah and Alice. And Sunshi Iwai films aren't really available on Blu-ray or 4K in the West. Even though I think his films are very accessible, and I think many people would like them if they were more accessible. And I think there's the other Hannah and Alice film from Sunshi Iwai. I think that's on Blu-ray actually. I think it's like an animated version of this or something. But this one that I have seen isn't available on Blu-ray, so but these would be perfect for the third window label. Then we have a 60s Japanese film, Happiness of Us Alone, very kind of Miki Naruse like. But this is a film that really nobody knows about, so I'm pretty sure this will never get on Blu-ray or 4K because just nobody knows about it. But maybe somebody will release it, I guess. It would be a perfect title for Radiance, as again they are releasing Japanese films from this period. So if somebody's gonna release it, I think it will be Radiance, and if Radiance doesn't release it, then nobody will probably. And I'm not sure if this is a more famous film in Japan, but in the West, nobody has really seen it. So yeah. Then we have Yoshimitsu Morita's Haru. This is very accessible on like YouTube and Rare Film website and those types of places, so you can easily watch this one in like really good quality as well, but it's not on physical media. And I think this is a film that many people would love. It's a very accessible film, very relatable film. Love to see this on physical media. It's also very rewatchable, I think. Then we have The High Solitudes by Philippe Gahel, film consisting of like what are close-ups? Yeah, just collection of close-ups. So this is a film that's something that not many people would buy if it got released. And maybe this is available on France, and you can see this on YouTube. But I would love to see this on Blu-ray, but it probably will never get released. Then we have The Legend of Suram Fortress by Parayonov. This would look absolutely stunning on Blu-ray or 4K. Of course, The Color of Pomegranates have been released on a couple of different labels. And I think I saw the other day that another one of Parayonov's films has been restored, and Janus Films has the rights to it, so it will probably come out on Criterion sometime in the next couple of years, so that's great news, but still waiting news about this one. Hopefully this one will get released as well. So the next film is actually something that I haven't seen, but I'm just dying to see it, and it's really hard to find. There are copies of it on online that are like really bad quality, and often the copies don't have English subtitles, but it's Lino Brocca's Macho Dancer, which is a gay film. It looks like a very interesting film, and I like Lino Brocca a lot. I've seen Insiang and then Manila in the Claws of Light. And by the way, I haven't added it to our podcast schedule yet, but Manila in the Claws of Light will be discussed on the podcast probably end of the year or early next year. So looking forward to that. I think Altes will like it a lot, but yeah, I just really want to see this one, and it would be great to see it on great quality, but it probably won't get released. So, but one can hope. Then I talked about this on my previous video. It's Miss Lonely by Nobuhiko Obayashi. Again, it's available on 1080p in the archive.org website. It looks really good, so maybe this is available on Blu-ray in somewhere else, like Japan or Korea or something. But it's not available here, I think so. Yeah. Then we have Sokurov's Mother and Son, which is like Tarkovsky level masterpiece. This would look absolutely stunning on Blu-ray or 4K. I think probably quite a few people would also buy it. I think it would be like a fairly popular title probably among art house fans. I'm actually very surprised that this hasn't been released, to my knowledge at least. So yeah, but such a great movie. Then we have my favorite film of India, from India. It's Pyasa by Guru Dutt, which is another masterpiece, very popular film as well, very highly acclaimed film. But I think I often hear that lots of these art house films from India are like really hard to license, and there are lots of kind of issues there. So I'm not sure whether this will come out, but hopefully it does. And I would love to see more films from India in general, from Guru Dutt and Mani Kaul and Govindan Aravindan and people like that, and also Ritvik Kathak. Yeah. Then we have Katsuo Kuroki's Silence Has No Wings, one of the best films of the Japanese new wave, a very beautiful humanist film that will probably never get released on Blu-ray or 4K, and if it does, it probably will be Radiance again, as they are probably the best label currently for Japanese new wave. So yeah. Then we have A Spring for the Thirsty, which is a very poetic, visually stunning film by Yuri Ilyenko that not many people have seen and not many people know of. So again, I think this probably will never get released, but hopefully it does. And if somebody releases it, probably will be second run, as they release this type of cinema a lot. And speaking of second run, they actually just announced one of my most wanted films for Blu-ray release that's gonna come out next month. So it's the František Flašil film Valley of the Bees, which is his second best film after Marketa Lazarova. So I really want to get that release. I'm really glad that it's coming. It's a stunning film. Then we have another Kim Ki-duk film, Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring, a very popular film. I think many people would buy this if somebody releases it. There have been DVD releases of it. It's sometimes available on YouTube. Really weird that this hasn't been released. There again must be some licensing issues there. But hopefully someday. Hopefully someday. Then we have Antoinette Angelidi with T for Reality. And I also have another film of hers called Topos. She's a very interesting Greek experimental filmmaker that not many people know of. And I think her films will never get released probably, as they are just not very well known. And again, they are kind of radical feminist experimental cinema, so you know that most people wouldn't buy them. So they would be the releases would lose money if they were released. So, but one can hope. I think these are both like masterpiece level of films, and you can often find these online if you want. Then we have a Raul Ruiz film, Three Crowns of the Sailor. And this is actually one that I think might be available on Blu-ray somewhere, because there are at least like 1080p copies available online. So maybe they've been ripped from a Blu-ray. So maybe this is available on France or something. But yeah, absolutely stunning film from Raul Ruiz. And his films are some of the most stunning films visually, and such great experimental films. And to me, he's like one of the best directors of all time, but just people don't watch his films enough. So then we have Mani Kaul's Uski Roti, Presonian, film from India from Mani Kaul. Incredible masterpiece of a film. And I would love to see Mani Kaul's films on Blu-ray like this one or Duvita. There are many others that are probably great that I just haven't seen yet also. But yeah, hopefully someday. Again, I'm not Like, I don't think they will come out on Blu-ray, but I can hope, yeah. And this one would be like very high on my wish list, so it's Wall Engravings or Open Coupe from Guy Gilles. To me, one of the most beautiful films, French New Wave, one of the most aesthetically pleasing films I've ever seen. Just incredible visuals. So I think this would look absolutely stunning on a great release. Again, it probably wouldn't sell that well, as French New Wave can be very kind of hit and miss for people, and many people don't like that stuff. But I would love to see it. And I could see this one coming from Radiance maybe. Then we have Chiming Liang's The Wayward Cloud, but also many of his films haven't been released. But again, second run is releasing Days next month, along with one of his other films. And there is actually a new restoration of The Wayward Cloud that was shown in the Berlin Film Festival earlier this year. So there is a chance that somebody will pick it up. And it's really weird that not many of his films have been released on great releases, as he is a fairly popular director in the art house circles, and I think his films would probably like have a decent fan base that would buy those Blu-rays if somebody released them. But here's hoping. This one, by the way, you can watch on the archive.org website if you're interested. I would highly recommend it. Then a Finnish classic called The Year of the Hare. I think would be one that, even though Finnish cinema isn't very well known outside of Finland, but I think this one would probably be something that many people would like. And the book of this is actually available on English translation, and I've even seen it in Waterstones in London and stuff. So you can read the book, but the film isn't very accessible outside of Finland. Here it is quite a big classic, but not many people know of it outside of Finland. By the way, this is available on the Rare Film website with English subtitles if you want to see it. But here is a small list. I could have had many more films here, but let me know if some of these are actually available on Blu-ray or 4K. I would love to know. And let me know your choices for this topic. And you can, of course, do a video response as well. This is, of course, a topic that many people have talked about on YouTube. Although I think most people, when they do this topic, they pick films that are already very well accessible on Blu-ray, but they just aren't available on boutique Blu-ray. But here, I mostly picked films that aren't even available on regular Blu-ray, or in many cases even on DVD. But anyway, thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimashita.